So y'all may be wondering, when is the right age to give a child a cell phone? Well, many parents struggle with this and how to make that decision. So really, you shouldn't focus solely on the age of the child, but the maturity level. So for example, there may be a 14-year-old who's really not ready, but a 10-year-old may be a little more mature, more ready for a cell phone. And got to keep in mind, not all 10-year-olds and not all 14-year-olds are going to be the same. Maybe a 14-year-old is more skilled in using the cell phone. They're more savvy in doing online searches on the phone. So it's better to really use these different categories that I'm about to explain versus just looking at age. So those 3 categories are: 1, can they follow the rules? When they're at home, are they doing chores? If they go out, do they come back home on time? Are they on time with anything that they are supposed to be doing, any responsibilities that they're supposed to have, or do you constantly have to remind them to go do them? For school, are they finishing their homework on time, or are they just kind of ignoring it? If you give them a cell phone, will they put it away during class time, or will they try to hide it and text their friends? Also, are they involved in any kind of bullying at school? Because if you give them a cell phone, that could, make the situation worse. Second thing is the child responsible? Are they responsible for their items, their belongings that they currently have, or do they lose everything? You give them a cell phone, that's a really expensive thing for them to lose. And giving them a phone also means that they could download apps to their phone. And that's also another type of responsibility, because those apps will have charges to them, and if they just constantly are downloading apps to their cell phones, that's going to cause you to become broke. Also, you may set limits to their phone on how much they can talk and text. Do they follow that limitation, or do they go over? And finally, they need to understand that, it's a contract that you're signing for 2 years, and you're stuck with this phone for 2 years. So they need to understand the importance and the worth of this cell phone. So now, putting those aside, for the children, for parents, if you're really struggling for money, or you're having to borrow money or use a credit card to buy this phone for the child, maybe you shouldn't buy it. If you can't afford it, then maybe that's something you discuss with your child, and then you guys create a plan, so that way when you're ready to buy it, you can teach them how to appreciate it later, which is something that's called delayed gratification. And that's an important lesson to teach your children. Sometimes maybe children will feel pressured because everyone at school has phones, but you can tell them it's okay to be different, that you don't have a phone. Everything's going to be fine. Explain to them that your family needs to get more money in and things of that nature, and just have that honest, open discussion with them. And maybe your child thinks, if I have no phone, I can't communicate with friends, I can't contact them, nothing. No, you can explain to them that there's other ways. Maybe you have a special circumstance. Maybe you and your spouse are separated, and your child goes between parents, and you want to be able to contact them while they're with their other parent. Or if your child stays for after-school activities, sports, whatever, and you need to be able to contact them. So maybe you'll give them a cell phone for that reason. Again, if they're mature enough to handle it. Or there's also the situation of your child is left at home alone. You want to have a way to contact them if something happens, if an emergency occurs. So there's a lot of things to consider and a lot of things to discuss when it comes to that decision. So I wanted to let you know what happens if your child starts, arguing with you and begging you. So how do you handle that? Well, in our next video, that will be our topic. So follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And keep an eye out for that next video.